Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of... Nope, because it won't be the first episode that airs. Doing over. Hi, everybody, and welcome to 8 Minutes with Chef Mel. I'm Chef Mel, and I own a small food business here in Winchester. I have a home bakery as well as a food vendor bike, and I offer a number of classes both for adults and children. But today I'm actually joined by my friend Casey Bauer, who is going to talk to us a little bit about making bone broth at home, which you've probably seen a great deal of lately online or on Facebook, a lot of articles that talk about what the health benefits are. So I thought that Casey could come in today. She has a blog of her own, and she's really, although I have done this, Casey is sort of my go-to expert for these sorts of things. So Casey, first of all, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
And I wanted to see if you could just kind of walk the audience through basically bone broth basics. So how do we get started? What's the process? And most importantly, why someone would want to do this at home. And I know that you're really passionate about that.
Yes. Yes. It's one of my personal goals to make sure that more people make bone broth at home, because it's one of the easiest things you can do to have the biggest benefit for your health. One of the most important things that bone broth does for us, besides all the minerals from the bones that we can get by consuming the broth, is the gelatin from the bones, from the cartilage, the tissues around the bones that you get into the broth. They actually repair the guts, and that's where most of our immune system is. So it's important for your immune function to
That's
have
really important.
gelatin.
And bone broth. And there's a big difference between what you would buy in the store and what you're making at home. So Casey's going to tell us a little more about that. So please tell us a little bit more.
All right. So the first thing you need to do to make bone broth at home is to get bones.
Okay.
And so the key there is to buy your meat with bones in it. And then after everyone is finished eating, or you've cut the meat off of the bones, whatever, every scrap that did not actually go into someone's belly, even they picked it out, oh, I can't chew this, put on the plate. You want that.
You want that.
You especially want that because yes, because you're going to cook this for a long time. It's not going to matter that it went into someone's mouth or they touched it or whatever. Even if it fell on the floor, within reason, I guess. But what you really want, all the bones, if you're working with chicken, even the skin, the cartilage, every little thing that you didn't really want to eat.
All of the things that normally, sitting around the dinner table, maybe we might avoid eating, for example, the skin and, the cartilage and those
little
things.
Veins, if you're very picky, you
but
want that
these are
stuff.
loaded with nutrients.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so all that stuff goes into a Ziploc as you're clearing the table. I keep mine in the freezer in some... Your larger bones, the beef, pork, lamb, they can all go together in a broth. Chicken, you'll want chicken, or if you're so lucky to have duck or something else like that, you could keep those separate and put those together.
Now here's a question for you, and I don't know if it impacts the nutritional value one way or the other. I also keep a Ziploc bag at home in my freezer. Like you had said, it's usually a gallon size. Sometimes, different chickens will go, the rotisserie chicken, and once we're done, I save the carcass.
You save the whole thing.
Yeah, and
I'm
ready to...
that whole business. And even, any scraps of meat that end up in there will also just enhance the flavor of the broth.
If you save any vegetable scraps?
You can also put vegetable scraps in there. I find that, like the tops of leeks and onions and carrots.
All of this detail is also probably, you have a blog as well.
I do. I have several blog posts on broth making and broth posts.
So now we have a big Ziploc bag full of these goodies.
Big
now
Ziploc bag. So what you do is you get your crock pot, or you can do this on the stovetop in a big pot. What you'll want to do is you take your bones out of the freezer. Here you go. You're going to take this out. You're going to open up, dump it in.
Yep.
You want to have enough bones to at least cover the bottom. I usually wait until I have enough to fill it about halfway,
Okay.
maybe sometimes a little more. Some of the bones are really kind of
Oh,
awkward and
awkward, yeah.
big. If you can get your hands on a big, say, a beef knuckle bone from the butcher, you'll want to just stick it in the oven for a few minutes, 350, just to let it, brown up a teensy bit, and then you can toss that in there.
Okay.
But otherwise, you put all your frozen bones in there. You're going to take some apple cider vinegar.
Ooh.
With the big bones, you want to use about 1/4 cup
Okay.
for this whole thing. For the chicken bones, you just need a couple of tablespoons.
Okay.
So you put that in, fill it up with cold water, and you let it sit for an hour.
Okay. And you had mentioned to me earlier that, and again, the detail of all of this is on the blog, but the apple cider vinegar helps to start to demineralize it.
It starts the
and that helps
demineralizing of the
process.
bones, and then you're going to cook this for 2 days.
2 days.
2 days. If you're doing it on the stovetop, you
This
can
is
turn it
really
off at
old
night,
school.
turn it back on, or with this crock pot.
Yep.
Well, I have to keep upping the time, but 2 days, and that really, the difference between what you get after 1 day and 2 days is phenomenal.
One of the very first times that I had made it, when I put it in the refrigerator, it obviously gels up a bit because of all the nutrients and the actual
The gelatin.
the gelatin in the bones themselves. So tell folks at home just really quickly before we wrap up, just remind everybody that that's okay and what happens when you reheat it, because it's very counterintuitive to us, I think, in this day and age.
Once you have the bone broth, you strain it, you'll portion it out, put it in your little Ziplocs, put it in the freezer. Once you're ready to use it, you'll notice I usually just pop that frozen thing right into a pot and let it melt, and then I actually make quinoa and rice and all kinds of things with that all the time. You'll find that it's very slippery, and this is the gelatin, and this is the great thing about it. This is
what you
want.
Okay.
This is what your body wants.
That's where the health benefits are.
This is a huge part of the health benefit.
And but basically, save your bones in a freezer bag. When you have enough to fill the pot, about maybe halfway or maybe a little bit more, add your water, add your
a little
vinegar.
bit of vinegar to make it acid.
And then you're ready to go to turn on your crock pot for 2 days. But of
2
course,
days.
all these details are on your blog.
They are on the blog.
And I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much
You're
for coming in
welcome.
and sharing. This is wonderful.
You're welcome. I hope everyone tries it.